Okay, welcome to Chucky's Corner. What we're going to talk about today is workbenches. Okay, as I've said before, I've been in the computer business now for over 40 some years, various stages. But this time I'll be building my first gaming PC, and one of the things I like to have is a workbench to work on, to put the basic parts together before I get it into the case, just to make sure everything kind of works. Not worried about operating system, not worried about that type of stuff. So I went ahead and looked around, and I bought this thing. I got this the most because it's light. I've got arthritis in the hands and everything, and I need to be able to lift, and this is really, really light and really, really sturdy. So I got it off Amazon, and it's pretty reasonable. You have to buy your own sticker. I like anything Pirates or anything C thing with it. But I do have some things to talk about this thing. First off, like I said, it's real sturdy. It's about a half hour to put together, even with some of the problems with the instructions. Now, some of the things about it is that first off, you build from the bottom, and then you build up, of course, and it'll have you put the 4 legs on. One leg is slightly shorter than the other because they have a spacer here, and it's designed so that if you want to put a disk drive mount going this way, you can, but I wouldn't do it. I don't do it. I always put that stuff on the side. Okay, so you put a little spacer here. It's in the box. The problem is the instructions don't tell you, I don't know if you can see it, but the instructions don't tell you what that piece is for, but it's a spacer in case you don't put the other part together. The other thing is that they give you studs. This is an ATX or smaller. They give you studs, but the studs are a little too short, in my opinion, because when the motherboard comes over, it goes over the screws here. And so I just put electrical tape here. That's all you have to do is electrical tape. The other thing is that when you put it together, you put this on the 4 sides, and then it tells you to put this back plate on. And that's fine. Go ahead and put the back plate on. Just don't bother putting this one on, this piece right here, until the very end. One of the reasons was that the screws and the offsets weren't properly labeled, and so you kind of had to work it all. And then the screws I got came in a little case, and it was all jumbled up. So it's just not worth it. Just put everything together, put this on last if you want to use it. Now, the other thing they tell you is that this little piece right here, okay, these 2 pieces here go on. Those are for putting your little hard drives and whatever you want to put in there. This piece right here, I'll show you this part right here, sits in right there. This is where your power supply mounts to. Now the problem is in the instructions they tell you for long power supplies you put it here, for short power supplies you put it here. The problem is that if you put it here for short power supplies, you know, real small ones, then you get a longer one, you've got to take this whole top off to get to it. It makes absolutely no sense. So just put it right here. Okay. When you put your top part on, what I suggest you do is before you put it on, you put your board on, and just to make sure the holes line up. They should line up. I just put a little mark on them where they go. So that was fine. But as I said, they come with studs, but these studs are just a little bit too short, and the motherboard fits right almost on top of this screw here, so that's why that was there. Another problem I ran into was these switches right here. Okay, they're supposed to sit right in the groove. Well, the problem was the grooves are not big enough by the time you put the wires in, and the wires come on the stops. So what I had to do is I just had to cut out a little bit each side to make it fit nice, and it fits tight. These just slip right on, but they're also just loose, and so I put some super glue in there, and that's for those. When you put this on, make sure you check the top part, make sure you check the holes are all the way drilled. Some of the holes weren't all the way drilled through. And then I just put this back part on. But other than that, like I said, it's really good. It's really worth having. And for me, having arthritis is nice, so light I can stick it up and stick it on top of a top shelf when I'm not using it. So I hope that helps, and you'll probably be seeing this later on as I do some other things.